welcome back to Kev's Hobby Showcase. My name is Kevin, of course. You also may have seen me on Tabletop Jones Productions, where we do Two Idiots Playing Board Games, me and my friend John, and where we play some usually miniature type games, also strategy board games, and have a great time doing it. So anyway, today I'm working on minis for a game Federation, the game Federation Commander, and let me let me hold this up because there's a lot of them here. I've got a whole bunch of Romulan ships. Yeah. I have, let's see, let me do a quick count here. I have 11 that have to be primed. I got, let me hold them up. I got another 2 that that were primed, and I started painting them a dark gray. This is the base coat that I'm going to be using. And that being said, I have another 2 that I did quite a few years ago, and as you can see, it's a much lighter color. I'm gonna repaint these. I'm gonna paint over this, and because I want them all to be relatively the same color. So, just for a little background on excuse me, on the game. Federation Commander is a simplified version of Starfleet Battles. Starfleet Battles is a very elaborate Star Trek game, and it is all based on the era of the original series, the Star Trek original series, like basically from Kirk, Spock, and all of them. That's the era that this is all from, and it's a pretty fun game. It's not that hard to learn. It is a lot of math. So it's like every turn for every ship, it's allocating points for what system gets power and what system using, what system has to be charged up for a couple of rounds. It gets to be quite a bit elaborate, and it can at times get confusing when you start when you're using a lot of ships, and sometimes you might forget, oh, what did I do with this one? Oh, what did I want this one to do? And Federation Commander simplified a lot of it, and they have tools that you could use to try to help you remember, especially when you're dealing with the drone missiles. So those of you who have played it know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not in the original series, but so for those of you who have played the game, you know what I'm talking about. And also, when you get to certain races who use the plasma torpedoes, they actually have a way to track them to make sure that which one is which, because I think with the plasma torpedoes, the further they go, the less damage they do. So you need to keep track of it, otherwise you're going to be like, oh crap, how much damage do I cause on this? And it's a fun game. Like I said, a lot of math. So you got to brush up on those addition and subtraction skills. And so like I said, I have a couple. I have quite a few, actually, not just a couple. Quite a few to prime. So we're gonna get started on that, and then after that, we're gonna get to the base coat. And when it comes to the rest of it, it goes pretty quick because it's just a little bit of paint here and there. But I'll talk more about that later on. All right, so I'm gonna do the primer first. Hold on a second. All right, we're back, and we're gonna be priming the Romulan Starships. All right, so the pieces are pretty small, so we don't need all that much. Just a short burst, and then let it set. Now, some of these, as you're going to notice, are going to look a lot like Klingon ships. Well, the reason for that is that they have it written in the lore that for a while there, the Klingons and the Romulans had a tentative alliance, and as part of that alliance, the Klingons were giving them ships so that the Romulans had warp capability, because their regular ships didn't have warp drive. Let's see, I missed a bit on the top here. So I'm trying to keep it so that the wind doesn't blow this back at me. And that I can get every inch of the mini without making a mess. Yeah, especially this one. This one is really tiny. So this may be a lot of ships, but because of the nature of these minis, it's not going to take long to paint them all, because it's basically just a base coat, and then some of the rest of it is sometimes no more than just dots. So anyway, priming. So we primed all the Romulan Starships. We're going to wait for them to dry, and then we're going to start on the base coat. Right, stay tuned. Okay, the primer is dried on these Romulan ships, and we're going to get to it with the base coat, because there are a lot of them. There's not only the ones that I primed, but there's ones that I primed previously and the ones that I'm going to be repainting. So let's just get to it. All right, so all right. All right. Okay, so let's start off with these that I have right here. Alright, so given how this is being applied, I may have painted this once before. Sometimes I've you know, some of these minis, I did them so far ahead, you know, like so long ago, that I kind of forget what I've done. And so when I looked at this, I saw the color. I figured, oh, I just primed it. I didn't do anything else with it. But it's going on nicely, and yeah, and you can definitely see it. So, well, I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but I can definitely see it. So I'm going to do these started ones first, and then I'll move on to the ones that I just painted. All right. Okay. All right. So that's one. Let's get this one. So I have this type of ship. When I saw that in the game, I was very, very intrigued by it, because I'd never seen it in any of the shows. Never seen anything looking like this type of ship. That's why sometimes I wonder how many of these ships that Armadillo made were of their own design, and how many were actually from the show, the creators of the show. And I do wonder at times if they consulted them, because I know that that you need a license to do all this stuff. Like, you need to have permission from the creators. So, you know, it makes me wonder what the whole process was. Okay, this one's just about done with the base coat. Now, in general, these minis don't really take all that long. Now this one here, I mean, because I mean, I want all the minis to look the same. So I mean, yeah, this one is what I had done a long time ago, and I was actually very proud of the way this came out. However, I can't just cover. It's going to be very hard to just cover what I would need for the base coat, so I got to really do the entire thing over again. So, but I'll get it looking good. And I'm not even worried about color bleeding through, because I'm going to be going over it with pretty much the same color as far as the details go. So I'm really not worried about that. You know, I just want them all to look, you know, as far as with the base coats, I want them all to look like the same, or at the very least similar. I don't even remember what color I used. Okay. So, hope everyone out there is doing very well. I mean, we all know times are very tough. You know, we're all going through probably the same thing, especially with our finances. So, I find if you're able to, I mean, not just necessarily this game, but if you're able to get yourself a nice game to meet up with friends or to play with family and just forget about a lot of this crap that's going on just for a little while. Could do your mental health a whole load of good. I'm actually doing this on a day where I normally meet with my friend John, and we play the games. And actually, right now we're up to BattleTech. We were going to do our second day of it, but John had something to do, so I figured let me make good use of my time and paint some minis. Yeah, same thing with this. I want to do the same thing. But yeah, these games can sometimes be a lifesaver with your mental health. I mean, unless you don't handle losing, because you're not always going to win. Yeah. One thing these games can teach you to do is to lose gracefully. Alright. Yeah, this is actually a dreadnought, if I remember correctly. So that's why it's so much bigger than the other ones. I know when I get up to it, there's I got a box set for battleships, which they're actually supposed to be bigger than the dreadnoughts, which I always wondered why. I just thought a battleship was like a lower class than the dreadnought. Like the dreadnought was supposed to be the highest. That's what I always thought, especially within the Star Trek universe. And I dripped a little bit of paint on my table. I mean, how dare the paint not drip on the cardboard I put down? How dare it go further and stain my table? I'll have to wipe it as soon as I'm done with this. Okay. Let's get the little bits that are still left on this one. Alright. Let me get that there. Let me just do a little wiping there before it sits in. Okay, and now we got all of these. But these are nowhere near as big as the dreadnought. They should not take as long. They actually have another game in this from this company that you could actually use in conjunction with these, with either Federation Commander or Starfleet Battles, which is more elaborate version of this, which actually that version came first, and then they simplified it and made it into Federation Commander. But there's another one called Federation and Empire, where you're almost setting it up, well, not almost, you are setting it up like where it's like a big board of all the territories, and it's kind of like a very grand scale for this of like how like trying to control your territory or expand your territory, stuff like that. And I did have it actually, but unfortunately years ago we had some pretty bad hurricanes in the area, and my basement decided to flood. And when I say decided to flood, I mean that it never did it before, and all of a sudden it's coming up through the pores of the cement in the basement, and much to my surprise. So unfortunately I did lose a lot of these games, because these games, well, I mean, I lost pretty much all of this game, because a lot of it just deals with paper, and a lot of that got drenched. Stuff that maybe I was keeping it too low to the ground, too low to the floor, I should say. And unfortunately, got all wet, and it ruined the entire thing, and I just didn't have the money to re-spend on all of it. And when I found this game that it was You know, not as, I mean, it's still kind of pricey, but but you know, also not as elaborate. You know, a little bit more simple. Kind of jumped on it, getting whatever I could, whenever I could. It's like with these games, the problem I always run into is the same problem I always run into. It's not so much learning the game, not so much learning how to play it well, but finding people to play the game with. Always the problem. But, you know, with my friend John, we're doing the channel, eventually we're going to be cycling through all of our games. Okay. As you can see, some of these are pretty tiny. Some of these Romulan ships are pretty darn small. Anyway, as I was saying before, because I'm going to have plenty of time to talk on this one. Yeah, sometimes, you know, these games can be like a good way to pass time, good way to you know, help your mental health, just to have something to do and not think about things for a while. Especially, you know, if you're in my position, if you're divorced, you know, you don't get to see your kids as much. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do get to see my kids. I mean, I was blessed enough to have equal time with my children. But, you know, if it were up to me, I'd have them here all the time. But it's not up to me. So anyway, having good games to play can be a godsend. Just got to watch out for the expensive ones. I mean, they're nice to play. They're, you know, very entertaining. They can feel very rewarding, especially when you're winning. But just got to watch out that you don't spend money you don't have. Yeah. Because let's face it, sometimes, especially when you're divorced, dating just isn't appealing anymore. Especially with these terrible dating apps. They're all, I mean, they really suck. I mean, I've been on a couple, and it's like, you know, you hear people say, "Oh, you're a great guy, you'll find someone." "Oh, you're a great guy, you'll find someone." And then you get on these dating apps, and you know, you put your picture up. You know, I try to be honest about, you know, everything, because, you know, I don't want to pull any bait and switch on a woman. You know, I don't want her meeting up with me and then saying, "Well, why didn't you tell me that? Why didn't you put that on the app? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?" So I'll put it all out there. And what was the result? Nothing. Pretty much got ignored most of the time. I even went on Bumble, which was an app designed for women to make the first move. So I figured, why the hell not? But what happened, in my, you know, from my experience, at least from what happened, is I would send out likes and all that, and I would get like nothing in response. No women. I mean, every now and again there would be something from a woman wanting, you know, like sending a like, and wanting me, you know, wanted to. Well, I don't know what they wanted. All I know is, you know, I would respond, and then they would set up the chat, and then they wouldn't say anything, because you can't start it without them starting it, without them, you know, initiating the conversation. That's how the app was designed. And I'm like, well, why the heck would you go through the trouble of sending me a like And then when I reciprocate, not even starting up the conversation. So, after a while of that, I just said, you know what? I said, I'm just going to start calling all this out. And I did. Like in the description, I started pretty much calling it out. And then when I basically had enough and I was not going to renew anymore, I wasn't going to renew the service, such as it was, I just started calling it out. It's because it seemed like every time I didn't pay for their premium, and you could only actually see who's trying to connect with you if you pay for premium. Otherwise, it's you could the app was free. The service you could sign up for free, but in order to actually connect with someone, you had to pay for the premium. So it seemed like I started giving it up once. And then all of a sudden, I got all these likes. I was like, oh, well, what's this? So I was a little suspicious, but I was like, all right, let me see what this is all about, because I'd kick myself in the rear if I gave up and someone was actually really trying to get in touch with me. So then I would pay for premium, and then I would look through them, and first of all, these women were all like 20 years older than me. I'm in my 50s, so you figure, a woman in her 70s was allegedly sending me likes, and I couldn't find that out until after I paid, which, kind of was a letdown. I think maybe there was one that was in the age range that I had set. I didn't go nuts. I wasn't really going very, very young. Like I said, I'm in my 50s, so I set it for like 40 to 55. And I think there was one that was within that range, and so I returned the like. Pretty much liked her back, and then waited for the conversation to start, and it never did. So then this, as the the next, because when you sign it up, you sign up for like a couple of months. So when it was gonna set to expire again, after of course all those months of nothing, I started just calling it out. I was like, I didn't care how I sounded at that point because I knew there was nobody there. And it also made me wonder how many of those profiles were actually real and how many of them were just put there to keep, men's interest. Because there was another app that I tried that became kind of blatant. But anyway, so as I was getting close to the end, I remember my brother-in-law I was posting on Facebook, like what I was doing. My brother-in-law thought it was hysterical. He was having a great time reading my post on that, and I was basically treating that site as a joke, the joke that it was, in my opinion, at least. So then because I was basically saying how the last time when it got close to it being up and trying to keep me in it, like all of a sudden I would get all these likes, and I the last time I wasn't getting them, so I said to him, so I went up on Facebook saying, "Oh, I think Bumble's on to me," and so like I treated it like a joke, and and to me it was a joke at that point, because I really was starting to question whether anybody I was encountering on that site was real. So there was another one that I tried while I was going through that site called Once, and they would advertise on Facebook saying that Once is a dating app designed to be deleted, that you only need it once, hence the name. And so I tried it and get on it. And as soon as I get on, I get matched to my quote unquote perfect match. So I start talking, and it's like the woman was actually available for chatting, which I was kind of shocked at, because I figured I was going to have to wait. And we're talking and we're talking, and things are going well. I mean, she was a bit younger than I would have liked. She was in her 30s. You know, I didn't want to go that young, and also she was quite a bit further away. She was actually, I think, out in Long Island, and I live in Staten Island. And without a car, that's a really hard trip to make. So, you know, so I'm talking and talking and talking, and all of a sudden, I get kind of like interrupted by the app, where the app is asking me for more money. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what do you mean asking me for more money? I paid a membership fee. So, I mean, so they never mention anything about this. So, you know, but since the conversation was going pretty good, and I didn't want to take the chance that it was actually real, and, you know, I was blowing it off, you know, I paid for like the smallest amount of whatever it was that they were offering. And I went back to the woman and I was saying what was happening. And I said, can we please chat in private? I'll give you my cell phone number. You just text me back with your name so I know it's you. Well, she wouldn't do it. I said, oh, I'm not comfortable doing that, but isn't it worth it like this? Isn't it worth paying all the extra money? And I was like, uh-oh, something's up. So then it happened again, but this time it was a bit more frequent. You know, it was more frequent than the next time. And then I said, listen, if this happens again, I'm not going to continue. And again, this person was trying desperately to keep me paying. And so then it happened again. I was like, screw it. So I'm questioning whether or not that person was even real. All right. Okay. So, as you can see, that's a lot of Romulan ships. And, you know, but the detailing is probably going to go very quickly. So I'm going to let that paint dry. I'm going to look up the details for the Romulan ships. And I will be right back. All right. Stay tuned. Alright, welcome back. The gray paint has had some time to dry, and now we're going to start on all the little details that go into making, you know, these ships look like ships. And yes, we are doing the Romulan ships, so just bear with me, and just remember that not all of them look like they do on the shows on TV. So let me get this on. Okay. Alright. So I have the paint guide with me here, of course. I'm going to keep consulting it for each color. I'm going to do it the assembly line method. Okay. So. Helps if I put the right end of the brush into the paint. Alright, so back here, these little squares, they're calling it the shield grid. So we do these in black. I think last time I was talking about all those dating apps. I mean, I didn't try a lot of them, thank God. Yeah. Alright, so that's the shield grid, and then engine cooling, that's this area here. That's black too. And then I need to do the base, but I'm going to wait and do that at the very end. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, I don't know how many of you out there have tried some of these dating apps, but yeah. They are not good. I really went into them with hopes. Well, I will say one thing, because I was on the app Plenty of Fish, and I did connect with someone who I am still talking to, and things are going very well, but unfortunately that's all we've been able to do is talk, mainly text, you know. So, you know, we're trying very hard, because she's not in New York right now, so we're trying very hard to get to the point where we can meet and start our relationship. We are both very excited about that, and I know most of you will probably think that, you know, how do I know that this is real? Well, let me just say that she has given me some photographic proof that she's real. You know, she gave me a picture with a personalized note to me, which floored me because I didn't even ask for it. Okay, so that's all for the black paint on this one. Alright, so now I can start moving a little bit quicker. But anyway, that aside, because I was on before I started talking with her on Plenty of Fish, I was noticing a lot of profiles that basically had links to porn sites. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, that was very disheartened when I saw that. So, pretty much when me and the woman I'm speaking to currently started talking and it started going well, I pretty much deleted that app. Because I am not the type of guy that does the, you know, oh, I'll just play the field. No, I don't do that. That kind of thing can get messy. You know, when you're interactive or actively dating more than one woman at a time, that's not how I like to do it. I mean, I'm not gonna badmouth anybody who does, because we're all different. But me personally, I just don't like doing it. Because, you know, when I'm with a woman, I don't want to know, you know, I don't want her to be with anybody else. I want her to concentrate on whether or not we're going to be together. I don't know. Those of you out there may agree with me, disagree. It doesn't matter, because it's just the way I feel. But anyway, on the whole, these dating apps are terrible. I mean, there's so many of them that are not even real profiles. It's like they pretty much steal pictures of, you know, women's pictures and use them on the apps, which makes it messy for the lady in question whose picture is being stolen, because if she is on the app trying to find somebody, they're going to think she is the scammer. And I did encounter a couple of scammers. So one thing I learned very quickly is that when you just start talking to someone and she immediately starts demanding money from you, just say, "Oh, sorry, I'm not the guy you're looking for. Good luck finding, you know, good luck in finding who you are looking for." Because that's what I wound up having to do on a couple of occasions. Alright, for these, though, it's a little different. For these types of Romulan ships. Alright, sometimes with these you gotta improvise, because it doesn't show this type of ship in the painting guide. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some details where I think it should go. Yeah, So, anyway, I mean, for anybody out there who has had good luck with these dating apps, God bless you. Because most of us don't. And it's especially hard for men. Because, you know, women are being basically contacted by multiple men and can have their pick. Most men are not being contacted by women and are basically competing for these women with other men. So yeah, it is a very different experience for men on these apps. Especially irregular guys like myself, because I spent most of my time on these apps being ignored. Yeah, I was not the one that these women desired. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but once you come to accept it, you know, it gets easier. Well, I'll just say this though, because if it doesn't work out with this lady that I am speaking to, then that's it. Because I am not going back on these apps. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. It's just too awful of an experience. And all you ladies who might be watching this, no offense to you, but you are awful on these apps. I had one on Bumble start up a conversation with me, and then just like a couple of days later, just drop me like a hot potato. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, alright, she's probably gonna give the excuse that I didn't keep the conversation going after the first day. Okay, granted. Maybe I didn't do that. But, you know, I did say I was new to these apps. And being that Bumble was designed to have women be in control, I thought that's how it was supposed to be the whole way while we were on Bumble. Yeah. Now, I will say it's a shame in the aspect of only that it sounded like she lived pretty close to where I live. So, being that I don't have a car would not have been much of an issue. But if she's going to drop me that fast, then my perspective on it is that most likely we would not have gotten along very well. So it's probably better off that it happened the way it did. Okay. Look at these tiny, tiny ships. Oh, let's get this big one out of the way. I'm not sure where to put some of this. All right. Doesn't really have a lot of. All right, so I'm gonna put this back here like this. And yeah, I even went as far as to sign up on a singles page on Facebook for Staten Islanders. I have not gone to one event. Because I imagined, you know, it would really just be a whole lot of the same crap. You know, I don't know anybody on those apps. You know, in that group, I don't know anybody. I looked at the list of people there. I didn't recognize not one name. I mean, not that it matters, I guess, but if I knew someone there at any of these events, I probably may have given it a shot or a chance, but nah. And I honestly, lately, have been at the point where pretty much feel like I might be better off as I am. You know, I don't feel like I'm doing all that bad. Am I a bit lonely? Of course I am. But it's also come to my attention that not many women are going to be understanding of my situation, both with the divorce, making divorce payments, not having a car, even though I gave up the car to keep the house. Don't think too many are going to be understanding of that. There are some. I mean, most of them say it was a good choice, but then when it comes to the reality of, hey, I may have to pick this guy up sometimes, or I may have to go out to meet him sometimes, that's when it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to drop this guy like a hot potato. Alright. It's just the reality of it, because, you know, listen, you know, people are going to be the way they are. For the most part, you cannot change people. And, you know, that's pretty much it. But these dating apps do not help. They really don't. I mean, in fact, I would like to put it out there that at times they make things worse. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, with the amount of Romulan ships I have, I was briefly thinking of only doing some of them. I was like, why break it up? Because I want these things painted. I'm not sure when I'm going to be using this on the Tabletop Jones Productions channel. But I also know that when John and I play that game, he's not going to want to play it with the tiles. He's going to want to play with the miniatures, and I don't blame him. Gives a more real feel to the game. Okay. So now the rest of the ships are the ones that are like the Klingon design. And I have to consult a different paint guide. So once I'm done with this, just give me a few seconds to see where I'm putting the black paint. And there's no black paint on these. So since there's no black paint on these, well, let me get a different brush. Since there's no black paint on the ones that pretty much are the same as the Klingon ships, I am going to get the bases done on these now. Actually, no. You know what? No. Not yet. Not yet. Because I gotta handle these things. Alright, so let's put this away. Let's put that there. Come back to that later. Alright, so let's see. What color should I do next? Let's do red. Seems to be a good amount of red. it's like a strip of red here. It's, what do they call it? Radiators. Alright, and then we need it for the warp intake. And the exhaust. Anything else that's red? That is it. Okay, so let's move that over there. Okay. So now we know. Strip of red, strip of red. The intake. All right, so yeah, I know I was talking about a very, I guess, might be a controversial subject when it comes to dating. I know everybody's got their good experiences, their bad experiences, and you know, I am no different. You know, I guess you could say I must have had a success in dating at some point because I was married and I have 2 kids. So hopefully I can have success again. So this way I can have someone with me for the rest of my days. That's always nice thought to have. Okay. But you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Well, hopefully for me it'll work out, but I'll admit right now it's hard to tell whether or not it will, but I have hope. Trying to stay positive. But I also look at it as if I am to be alone the rest of my life, I think I'll be okay. That's good. Okay. As you can see, I'm getting all the same type of ship done at once. just to make things a little bit easier to get through. Okay. All right, so now we got these. Excuse me. Okay. All right. When I'm done doing all these, oh, I missed one. I'm done with the red paint on all these. I might take a little break. I do have household stuff I need to get done. And I just realized how late it was getting. Okay. Oops. Let's not knock things over. Okay. Forgot about this one. All right. All right. Getting closer than it's just the ones that look like, ones that not look like, the ones that are pretty much the Klingon ships. Okay. Now let me just do a quick consulting here. Okay. So red is in this part here. Oops. I may have to touch that up. And back of the cell. Anything else that's red? Well, it doesn't say it, but actually no, that shouldn't be that. Okay. All right. Almost done with the red. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's it for the red. Okay, I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to let that dry, and when I come back, I'm going to finish up the detailing, and then make sure the bases are nice, painted nice and black, and then we're done with the Romulan ships. All right, so stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, done with my little break. I have to confess, I took my break so I can start the tomato sauce and my meatballs for dinner tonight. You know, kids love it. I always have it when the kids are here. So anyway, now I have some time while that's cooking to finish off these Romulan starships. Okay, so we're going to start with the blue paint next. Let me get this back on my head. All right, I'm going to put this down. All right, so let's see. So the blue, let's shake this up a bit. Get this open. All right. Get a good brush. That looks like a good one. Okay. So for the blue, it's mainly just the impulse engines. So the blue should go pretty quick. All right. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, when you're divorced, one thing I will say to any of you out there who are divorced or are concerned about one day being divorced, I will say this to you. Learn to cook. Now, I learned to cook pretty early, and I had the best teachers. I had my mother and my father. Both of them have taught me different dishes to make, and basically what I would do when I first moved into this house, you know, of course I would want to make all the dishes that I'm used to, so I would get what I need, and then I would call my mom, and I would say, okay, this is what I'm looking to make. You know, how long does it stay in the oven? I said, okay, at what temperature? Okay, and how do I prepare this? And you know, some things she would, you know, give me written instructions because it was a little complicated, or at least I thought it was a little bit complicated. And other things she would, you know, she would just tell me, and I would remember. As a matter of fact, to make the sauce, I actually got the recipe from her a few times, and each time I misplaced it. So I kept on just buying jarred sauce for the longest time. And then finally, just recently, I said to her, I said, okay, let me write this down one last time. I said, I want to start making my own sauce. And so I did. And now I don't even need the instructions. I just know how to do it. Yeah, I remember, because one of the things I do sometimes make is baked ziti. I haven't made it in a while, I'll admit. But, you know, I do, like usually on holidays, usually on the Christmas holiday, I'll try to make it. All right, let me see. Because now we get into the Klingon ships, and they get quite a bit of blue. So anyway, so I remember one year my grandmother was here, and you know, so I made the sauce. And well, I didn't make the sauce. I'm sorry. I made the ziti, and I was using jarred sauce. So when she left, before she left, she said to me, "The ziti was really good. Next time, make your own sauce." Yeah, so and that's the Italian side of my family. So, you know, cooking is very, very important to that side of the family. Well, Really should be important to all of us, but yeah. So that was, I mean, I couldn't help but laugh, and I was like, I'll try, I'll try, I'll try. But unfortunately, I never had the opportunity after that to cook for my grandmother, and of course, it was well after my grandmother passed that I, started making my own sauce. But I would like to think that if she were alive today, and I made baked ziti with my own sauce, I would like to think that she would look at me and say, "You did an excellent job." Yeah. So, but yeah, learn to cook, definitely. I mean, for a brief time, my ex, when we were still married, was doing trying to do as like a home business, Pampered Chef. I was all for it because I mean it was just the cookware was really good, pretty good quality, and the thing that she would always the thing that she was trying to do to make money was to have like these parties, and they would have like a little title to them. So when I did one for her, it was "Man's Gotta Eat," and I just invited men. Well, it didn't go as well as we were hoping, because she didn't really make much off of it, unfortunately. But I still got some good stuff out of it. Let's see. Do we need green on this? We do not, but we do need red. No, I did red. I'm gonna do yellow. That's the one I'm thinking. Okay. All the colors of the rainbow. Okay, so let's get this yellow one here. Okay. Yeah, so, and really, cooking is not hard. You can definitely get certain meals done. I mean, you're gonna have certain meals that you excel at, and then just do those as quick, as frequently as you can. Hopefully, without the people you're cooking for getting tired of it. That's like with my kids. Some things that I like to make, I had to kind of stop making it, and I would only make it when I was by myself, because they weren't really too thrilled with it. Like I like to make sausages and peppers. Use the pork sausage, of course. And they were like, "Eh." I was like, "Oh, all right, all right." So I saved the sausage and peppers for when I'm by myself. Then of course I could, I make the normal size of the sausages and peppers, and I could feed myself for quite a few days off of that. I usually save it for when my work group has, the possibility of overtime, because when I get home late, I don't really have time to eat anything. All right, so let's see. What should I do here? All right, you know what? I'm gonna get a little creative here, because it's supposed to be from module base, so let's do a little bit like this, a little stripy, a little stripe. All right. All right. Yeah, make it a little bit more, a little bit colorful. Remember, I am trying to go by their painting guide. Oop, darn it. And they don't always have things, very obvious. Because they tend to show one type of ship, and then when you go to the other size ships, it's like, okay, what do I do here? So on occasion with these, you got to get you could either leave it alone or you can get a little creative. All right. Well, before I wipe this, let me see if I need it for the Klingon type ships. And I do not. Okay. I do need the green for those, so maybe I'll do that next. All right. So let's wipe this. Let's put the yellow away. Take out the green because that's only going to go on the Klingon type ships. Oh boy. Wait, which green is this? Did I grab the right one? Okay, let's see how this looks. Alright, so let's see, where am I putting the green? Oh, there. Alright. Okay, so go on these little raised strips right here. Not too bad. And show it up near the front. Not in any particular spots. I'm just going to put it on the side. Like that. And make sure there's no other spot for green. Nope, that's it. Okay. So that. One thing I will notice, I will point out though, on these, the bottom of these ships are generally very smooth, not a lot of detail. Alright, get the green on this one and then we'll move on. That's a little too much. See the time. Oh, well, not that I'm running out of time, but one thing I will say is that it's getting close to 5 o'clock and my cat will be harassing me to be fed very soon. So, yeah, so let's see how far I can get before I have to break. Alright. Now, let's see what's left. Alright, gray to be where the phasers are. So I got a darker gray for that. And let's see, what brush should I use? Alright, it's weird on these. I only see 2 raised dots for phasers, and they're right here by the front. I could assure you, though, that there are generally more phasers on these Romulan ships. So when you do these, don't think that everything's going to match up perfectly with those ship cards, because it's not. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes you're going to find ship cards with it, because they got the ship drawn on it, and you're going to look at what you have and it may not match up, so sometimes you could just substitute in a ship to represent the one that you need, because this isn't that kind of game where if you don't have a particular mini, your SOL, Let's see. I'm trying to see where I could see it on these tiny ones. I see some dots. Sometimes you just gotta do it yourself, I guess. Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, in a perfect world, it would be nice if everything was perfect, but it doesn't have to be. Alright, let's see what we got here. A little bit on the front, yeah. Do that. I'm just going to leave it there. Alright. The big guy here. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do whatever looks different, right? Oh, I actually got something on the other side on this one. Well, if they got it on the underside of this one, let's see about these. No, not that one, but this one maybe? Well, it's got something here, so I'm just going to paint it in gray. Alright, go with this one. Alright, and now the last ones are the Klingon looking ships. Okay, bridge is dark gray and the phases are dark gray. Alright, so let's get the bridge. And alright. Alright, now let's see what we got over here. Just gonna do that, get the bridge. Alright, the little ones is not so much, but I'm gonna make do. Actually, let me make sure I got all of the bridge on this last one here. Alright. Okay. That's it for that. So, what we're gonna... Oh, jeez. Got that happening again, eh? So what we're going to start doing next is getting the stem up to the ships. So let's see, let's get the ones that are similar. Okay. Okay, this one here, this type, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get another one out here. Excuse me. Alright, so well, while I'm at it, okay, let me line these up. If any of you heard that, I apologize. Someone out there is hucking a loogie. So I'm going to be using the blue multiple times. Whoops. Don't want to knock that over. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to use the blue first. Now, why am I using blue first? Because I like blue. Alright, there's one. And this is just to use as like an identifying marker. This is not in any way, shape, or form like a requirement to use on these. This is just so that when I have them out and I want to distinguish one from the other and I want to make a notation on the ship card that I know which one is which. Because when they start to take damage, it's very important, or even if they're in like a strategic position, because there are actual missions that you can do, actual scenarios you can do. So you need to know which one is which, and that's where all this comes in. And actually, just for the future reference, those other two, even though there's one of each of them, they're going to get the blue paint. Alright. Okay. So that's one. Alright, let's go with another. Let's go, whoops, let's go with red. Okay. Okay, let's get this one. Alright. So, and like I said, this is only for the purpose of identifying the ship when it's out on the board. So this way, while you're playing whatever scenario or mission or campaign, that you don't get confused and have to backtrack and find out which ship is which. You'll already know. It's also a good way to not get accused of cheating. You know, we should all be cordial when playing these games, but I also think you should make sure you're on the up and up and not actively trying to cheat your opponent out of a win, because you know that's how you lose participants in these games. Alright, let's see. Let's go with green next. Gonna need it just for one, because this particular type of ship I just happen to have quite a bit of. And I still have a lot more from when I played Starfleet Battles. You know, I may have lost all the paper stuff, because the counters are, you know, they're like a cardboard type material. You know, I may have lost all that stuff. But, you know, the minis, you know, of course, metal. They get wet and eventually they dry. So, all right. Let's go with yellow next. And then one day I'm going to be sitting here painting those drone missiles, plasma torpedoes, and shuttlecraft. I was able to get a set of them. They don't have too many when they put it out. It's only I think like 6 in the box set. All right, last one we'll do orange. And then we'll get ready to paint the bases. Make sure they're all solidly black and nice and neat. Okay, so that's that. All right, let's pick a good brush to do the base, and then we're done. I know I just keep forging ahead with these, but you know, there's really not a lot of need to let some paint dry because I'm not going over too much. I mean, once the base coat is dry, I can pretty much just keep going and get the whole thing done. Alright. Yeah, and so this I'm doing just for aesthetics. Okay. With all the paint I'm going to have in my fingers now, I'm glad I made my meatballs already. Doesn't always all come off when you clean your hands. I find that usually when I have a lot of paint on my fingers, it doesn't really all come off until I take a shower. Probably from all the hot water. Now, one of these days I might be doing some of these on another site. I just found this app on my tablet I'm sorry, not on my tablet, on my phone earlier this week, called Fanbase. I've been looking into it, and it is a site where you pay to see content though. So I'm not gonna. Well, first of all, I have nothing there yet, so of course I'm not gonna promote it right now. But it's gonna be, I guess, more exclusive type content. So, see if I can, what I can think. Oops. Okay, good. What I can think of to do on that site first. All right. One thing I won't be doing is making a spectacle of myself. Yeah, I don't know what other people do there. Yeah, I think one person already followed me as a looks like a 20-year-old woman, and it looked like what she has there is mostly adult content. So yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, that's why I don't do OnlyFans. I keep hearing people suggest that I do it, but I'm like, no, why would I do that? I have no desire to do anything like that. You know, I have too much, it's like, I have too much respect for myself to do something kind of brainless stuff like that. Yeah. Besides, someone I'm saving myself for right now. Because if it works out between us, my gut feeling is that it's going to be probably the best relationship I'll ever have. And there's no way I'm going to mess it up by doing something like, posting inappropriate content on the internet. Okay, just about done. Got a few more left. And then the Romulan ships are ready to deploy. This is actually, if I was able, I don't know, it's been a while since I played it, so I don't know if I would be able to put out this many ships at once, but this would be one nice sized fleet to put out. Not sure how powerful it would be, but yeah, let me get these over here before they start putting black paint on my table. Okay. I know this seems like an endless train, but trust me, it's coming to an end. So yeah, if anybody out there knows what Fanbase is all about, I wouldn't mind letting me know. I wouldn't mind being enlightened about that. I haven't done anything with it yet, but any information, any useful information is more than welcome. Now, also, if you want to talk about subscriptions where people would actually have to pay, John and I have been talking about utilizing a site called Twitch, which I honestly thought was a joke the first time I heard it. I thought someone was just making fun of Twitter. But one of these days we're going to live stream a game. Don't know which one yet, but we're going to live stream a game on Twitch, and because we're hoping to get the ball rolling on starting to earn some extra money. Also, we're going to be utilizing Patreon. John might be reading stories that I've written, and we're going to do other things. I'm going to try to create something exclusive to that site. Let's go up. Okay, and we're also thinking of doing a podcast, so stay tuned for that because we're still working that one out. But anyway, so now we are done with the Romulans. All these Romulans, woo, I almost dropped it. All these Romulan ships, that's too many. I'm not going to be able to turn them all. It's just too many of them. Okay, there's that, but there's also all of these here. All of these here. So, that's it for the Romulans. So, they're ready to be deployed against whoever we have to face them, whether it be the Federation, Klingons, or any of the other empires in the Star Trek universe. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Hope you enjoyed watching me paint these Romulan ships. Please like and subscribe and share this video as much as possible. I'd like to try to broaden my audience. Also, please check out Tabletop Jones Productions, where John and I are the two idiots playing board games, and hopefully one day we'll be playing This game may not be anytime soon, but you know, because we're slowing down a little bit, but we will get to it. And you know, please like and subscribe those videos. You know, again, we want to broaden our audience. We want to share it as much as possible, and we will see you. Well, I will see you again, and have a great day and take care.